my research project was in astrophysics, which I did just after completing my masters. Specifically, it was about the idea in astrophysics is basically to take any natural phenomenon, let's say a particular type of star,
Mhm.
and whatever it does, let's say it emits X-rays, and so the idea is you study those X-rays and you try to figure out what exactly is the mechanism that generates those X-rays.
Mm.
Similarly, uh, 10,000 objects will have 10,000 characteristics.
Sure.
So every astrophysicist will try to pick up a certain aspect of it or some overarching theme about it and then try to understand those details
Got it.
via research and data and so on. So in my case, it was basically about uh, so there's this space telescope called Astrosat. It is India's first space telescope. It
Okay.
was launched in 2015 and it is still orbiting Earth as we speak.
Sure.
So my project was about studying X-ray data from that telescope about a particular star, which I would analyze to figure out what is exactly going on in that star that it is emitting such intense X-rays.
Mm.
So basically, so that was my research project, so which I did in 2017, so not
Okay.
long ago, and while I was doing that, I was also blogging on the side.
Okay.
Um, so
So
I was
that, I mean,
blogging on Medium at the time.
that's a good segue into the blogging question, Jatan. I feel like that is such an important part of your life and your journey. And what's interesting is you kept blogging through school, through university. And how did this shift happen? Because uh, when you start off on Blogger, do people just come and read your work, or did you feel like there was another medium that gave you more readers? And how did you reach out to other people in the space exploration community to come and read your work? So I want you to sort of share like some insights into that process, and also, yeah, maybe just talk about your writing for now. That would be really helpful.
Right. So that's a very interesting question. I didn't think about it that way, to be honest. So that's
Yeah.
very interesting. So the idea was, okay, so when I started blogging right after high school, for about 5 years or so, or more, in fact, so about for 5 years or so, I was just blogging out of my passion and because I wanted to write
Yeah.
about what I, just because I wanted to write about what I had learned. And so I did not have any major audience. In fact, I remember specifically that at the time the best views that I had gotten per day in those entire 5 years was about 100, I think, and I was very happy about that. Like I was rejoicing about that on one day. So most of my audience for 5 years was just friends and people I could find, physically most of the time, whom I knew personally in some way or the other and were interested in science, or were my friends and not interested in science.
But how
So
many
I would
articles you
just,
wrote in that period, Jatan?
so,
About 100?
um, I, yeah, it should be about that, but I don't remember explicitly because it was more like I would just write whenever I felt like.
But
Um,
but would you
and,
think
and
that
they just,
time, just to I'm just thinking, was that time sort of your writing school where you were refining your ability
no,
to
no. So
communicate?
no. So I think I got your question. I'll
Yeah,
come to that in a bit.
sure.
So for these 5 years, I was just writing for fun, and I did not have a large audience. And Blogger gave me some, since I was publishing on the internet and I was sharing on Facebook and Facebook groups and so on. So occasionally I would get like 30, 40 extra people and so on. But then in 2017, right when I was doing my master's project
Hmm.
in about the astrophysics project which we spoke about, I started writing on Medium because Medium was getting popular at the time.
Mm.
So that's medium.com, and it was getting popular at the time. So I just started writing there. It seemed more modern than Blogger. It had better features and so on. So I that is the time when I started writing more regularly and with an audience in mind, because by that time I was on Twitter, I was on Facebook, and so on. So I was like, okay, let's if I'm writing anyway, let me share it with the world.
Hmm.
But the interesting thing that happened is social media did not give me a significant audience in terms of volume. Medium did. So
Ah,
since Medium was getting popular at the time, every time I hit publish, I would just get 1,000 views or so the next day. and
Really.
that was incredible. And I started getting followers also, and I think in about 7 to 8 months I crossed 5,000 followers on the platform. And I had not anticipated that, nor had I planned for it in any way. It just happened because the platform was growing, to be very fair.
Very
So it
interesting.
was partly my writing, that I was writing, regularly,
Mm,
and the fact that people happened to find it interesting.
mm.
And it was partly the platform who was seeing a surge in readers at the time. So those things combined gave me more exposure. And that is when my first break into professional writing happened, is when uh, so Medium was getting popular, and that Team Indus, a space company, a private space company based out of Bangalore, uh, they also had their blog on Medium. So they were
Mm.
writing about what their space mission was about on Medium, and and their marketing team came across my blog since I was also writing on Medium, and they thought that, this person is also in India, so let's give him a call. So they
Mhm.
called me and asked me if I would like to join their marketing team to write about their space mission for them.
Oh,
And so that was my first professional break in writing.
wow.
So I obviously said yes, and I went there to write about the space mission and space exploration in general for them.
I just want to pause here, Jatin, because you make it seem like it's really easy, but what's really fascinating about this is that you basically got your own job by writing on the internet, right? And that is
Yeah.
something a lot of young people don't think about, that you can actually reach out to an audience and
Mm.
create some value on the internet, and that can actually open up so many more opportunities for you, because I'm sure there must have been somebody on that team that read your blog and they thought that maybe the same writing would be useful in our context too, right?